Lynch.
Jessica White. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So how was your drive in? Did you find it okay?
Oh yeah, it was great. Directions were perfect, and I was able to park down the street and just walk right in.
That's great. Okay. So today I'd like to talk with you about your background and experience. If we get to know you well, what you've done, what you hope to do, then we can judge whether we have opportunities in our organization for you. I'd like to hear about your job, schooling, interests, and anything else you'd like to tell me. So let's jump right in. How did you happen to become interested in our organization?
Well, when I looked online, I actually found the job through Monster.com. And through Monster, I found out that I was actually a good fit through the company, through the job description. I found out that Dell is actually one of the biggest suppliers. It does business with almost every single Fortune 500 company. And I also felt that I liked a lot of their corporate policy, including corporate responsibility and helping out the environment. I think these parallel some of my own values that I have, especially values like focusing on being a team player, accepting challenges every day, and working with integrity really stood out to me.
Okay, now tell me about a job you've held. I'm interested in any special achievements you may have had and what you think you've gained from these jobs.
I think my past work experience is really relevant to the job. For example, I learned how to pay close attention to detail as well as achieve positive results in my last couple of jobs. During my internship, I used strategic marketing, including data mining and sales and growth projections, to establish a growth pattern for the next 5 years. I also was a lone employee on this project, which meant that I had to scrutinize and go over my work problem by problem to make sure that everything was correct, since I was the only one checking it. They did find the report very valuable because it gave them actual data to plan for the near future instead of just speculation. And because of that, I was asked to come back and work on both winter and spring breaks. Another job that I had that helped was I was a coach for Special Olympics Indiana, which was volunteer work. In that job, I was able to assert myself in a leadership role while coaching an athlete, and my athlete actually did very well. He got 2 gold medals, and the way I coached him, I decided to use positive feedback, and along with patience and understanding, so that he could do the best that he could. Because if he was happy, then I was happy too. And afterwards, the parents actually came up to me and thanked me for making their kid so happy, and it was actually really nice moment.
That's great. You've given me a good picture of your work experience. Now let's talk about your education. I'd like to know about your recent schooling, including any specialized training you've had.
Well, as a marketing major at Xavier, there's several things I could excel at, I think, in your company. Marketing at Xavier is a very diverse major, having classes dealing with the 4 Ps of marketing: price, place, promotion, and product. And some of the classes that covered these were supply chain management, which is about distribution, chains; retail marketing, which is about selling directly to consumers; business to business marketing, which is manufacturers selling to retailers. And I think I also learned a lot from about how PowerPoint, Excel, and Word inside these classes. And from these skills and classes, I was able to put together a strategic plan for the next 5 years, as I mentioned earlier, for the company, and they got to see exactly what they do for the next 5 years.
Okay. We talked about your work in schooling. Now let's complete your picture as a candidate. What is one weakness that you would say you
I wouldn't call it a weakness, but I am very proud of my ability to overcome a former time management issue. After receiving an average, actually below average amount of grades my first year, my grades were not satisfactory to me. So this gave me an opportunity to improve, and through scheduling study times and taking a course on time management, I was able to improve my time management skills. And because of this, my GPA is around a B average, which is almost double than it was before. It's helping to reclaim my honor scholarship of $10,000, as well as obtain an internship that I'm talking about in the marketing field for the growing metalworks company. However, this new time management skill hasn't even affected my business life by itself. It's also affected my personal life. I've been able to clean up more effectively with all the spare time I've been able to do, which actually de-stresses me, which I think is a good thing.
have? Well, that's great. Now, in an aggressive working environment, it is often necessary to prioritize goals to be sure that effort is allocated appropriately. Tell me about the most important time in your working history when you prioritized your goals successfully.
I'm very proud of my ability to prioritize goals. I think my best example of this is when I had the job renovating and restoring an old country club golf course. My boss would give me several jobs at the beginning of the day, and it would be up to me to decide exactly how much time allocated to each job and whether each specific job would take place over a few hours or a few days. One morning I was assigned the task of weed eating every single tree on the golf course, as well as removing several parts of old wooden train track from the course. I knew the weed eating would take a long time, as well as removing the track, so I devoted 4 hours per day for 2 days and was able to get both jobs done effectively and efficiently. Also, I used a small notebook to allot time for each job and goal so I could have visual representation of exactly what I needed to do in the amount of time I needed to do it in. My boss was so impressed with my work that I received 2 separations during my time at the job, as well as high praise from him as well. And my boss, I think the reason he let me work alone was because he saw my work after the first week, where he did watch me a bit. But after watching my work, he was able to trust me and realize I was going to deliver a satisfactory work.
Okay. Now, tell me about the most complex information you have had to read, perhaps involving research you had to complete. To what extent did this project test your comprehension skills and technical knowledge?
I think my ability to read and comprehend complex information is something that I'm very proud of. During both my ethics marketing class and my supply chain marketing class, I had to write 2 separate 10-page papers for subjects we learned throughout the year in both classes. I had to read through several government reports, trade journals, as well as leading interviews with several people from the field I was doing my subject on, which was for marketing, of ethics and marketing. It was corporate social integration, and for supply chain marketing, it was slotting fees. Um, Both these projects require me to reread the text several times in order to fully comprehend because it's rather complex stuff. And as well as had to listen to the interviews over and over again to comprehend exactly what someone said and what they meant when they said it. I think after I was done comprehending all the material, I was able to use that information and weave it together using my good research skills and my good computer skills, meld them together, and I received an A on both papers, with one of the grades, the ethics and marketing, being the highest grade in the class.
Now, tell me about a time when you were able to provide your own motivation to produce even though you were working alone. What were the circumstances of the situation and how did you manage to motivate yourself?
Well, I do take pride in my ability to be intrinsically motivated when I work on the job. With some of my past employment, I was not directly supervised, but was still expected to meet deadlines on a consistent basis. For example, on my job on the golf course, I was expected to perform above satisfactory work with no direct supervision and only one initial meeting at the beginning of each day to uh, have the opportunity to find out the tasks I'd be completing that day. Because of this, I feel that it gave me an intrinsic motivation to succeed, and I think I performed the job at such a high level that I actually did get 2 raises during that job. And another example of me working alone would be during my internship, which I had my own office, and I would only talk to my boss once every 2 to 3 days just to get progress reports on what I was doing. But again, I was able to be intrinsically motivated to succeed, and I started to make this plan simply just out of self-gratification from doing my job well. I think this report, it caused the owner to single me out and congratulate me on my thoroughness and efficiency I conducted the job with.
Okay. So why should I hire you?
I think you should hire me for several reasons. Uh, in my time studying marketing at Xavier, I've learned many of the skills and ideas that I think will lead me to success in the future. I am confident I would be a great fit in your company due to our values and ideals paralleling each other and my skills, like being competitive and having strategic marketing experience, really relevant. Also, with my dedicated work ethic and attention to detail, I achieve positive results in every job I have. And as mentioned before, some of the examples were my job on the golf course, my internship. Also, with my former weakness now becoming a strength, I think that the new time management skills I've learned become a real asset to your company. And lastly, by prioritizing my goals, comprehending complex materials, and being able to be intrinsically motivated, I'm confident that I can benefit your company in the near future and beyond.
Now, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I do. I was reading on your website about how your company champions integrity and responsibility. Can you tell me more about that, please?